Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast with me. It's a little bit cold and wet out there. Had fun walking with my sons and letting them be in charge and realizing they should have took a jacket. But I like it because it makes the grass green, trees green. So it's always good if you have a good attitude, which I do for today's training. I got a lot to get into, so I'm going to dive in pretty quickly into the slides so I can get to the live training. I appreciate you engaging in chat. Definitely engage in chat. This isn't just about training, but all of my training events come with this component of being able to network. If you're on YouTube, you definitely want to come over to LinkedIn because this is where we can engage with each other. It really is the only profile or social media platform where you say your real name. Like, you know, I'm Neil McDonald in there. It's not some catchphrase like Twitter or Facebook or something. So it's a way for us to professionally network, which I really love. All right, so we're going to be talking about AUSA and planning for success. And you could take this training and apply it to any big conference that's out there in the federal market. It's this idea, how do you prepare for the events? It just happens to be AUSA 2025 is today. Today is the 13th of October. And it runs the next couple of days. It's a bigger event, but the primary days are the 13th through the 15th. And in the defense sector, it's the largest event out there. I think there's like 750 exhibitors. Many of us small businesses are out there. You'll see this in a minute. Many people are there engaging. And AUSA, I'll show you more about it in a minute, but it's the Army's big event that is out there. And so many people from the Army are coming and they're visiting the exhibitors, et cetera. But the reason I did this training is, what if you can't make it to DC? I mean, I'm not down there today. Tomorrow, I'm going to go down to AUSA. So if anybody's down there, let me know. But what if you can't make it to the conference of your choice, going down to AUSA in DC or anywhere else? You can still network and build relationships outside of those 3 days and outside of being there. That's why I said being able to network without and take advantage of AUSA without actually even attending or paying for the event. You can take advantage of it. There's nothing wrong with it. This is piggybacking on top of the success they're having with the people who were there in person. When you think about it, really, AUSA, they talk about how there's going to be 44,000 people at the event. And last year, it was huge. I mean, in the 30s, thousands. But like, that is massive. And get your head around that, right? There's no way you can even get a fraction of the people in there in network. And this is why I like to teach having a plan about conferences, events, et cetera. And so whether you go there or whether you don't go there, you should have a plan. But when you have a plan and you can't go, then you're going to be able to network with these people out there. And you can network ahead of time. I like engaging in the conference ahead of time, watching who's coming to the conference and engaging with them. I can engage the 3 days during it while the hype is going on, and I can engage it. I mean, for weeks and weeks afterwards, I can engage. It's like, oh, hey, sorry, I didn't follow up. So anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about, is how do you sit there and try to get to be part of this 44,000 people who are showing up, or 750 exhibitors. And so that's how I'm going to break down what I show you today, is how do you look at the speakers that are there, the panelists. And so these are people up on stage. Maybe we'd want to engage with them and follow up. The second one is how do we engage with the 750 exhibitors there? This is, to me, it's like a menu. I get to go down and find all the folks that are in there. And then the last one is how do you engage with all those attendees? You're not going to engage with all of them because you don't know who's showing up. But there are ways to find people who are showing up and who are talking about it. And then you can engage with them. And that's how you build your network. That's how you begin to have meetings that matter with people out there. So if that makes sense, put AUSA rocks in the chat. Let people know that we're talking about AUSA today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, founder of Call Plan AI, and I want to welcome you to my federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market after I got out of the Army teaching as a small business government contractor. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. Part of the process is going from A to Z, and if you follow a process, you'll have repeatable, predictable results. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. I put out all sorts of training replays and upcoming training schedule on today's newsletter article. Plus, if you missed some posts I put out there, because I put a lot of content out, but it's all government contracting related. So I reminded people today about DISA, about DLA, about US Space Command content I had put out there. And one last thing for this slide, just reminding you that tomorrow's training is on all the different stakeholders. So there's so many stakeholders, so many roles like contracting officer, business developer, et cetera. There's a ton of them. And I thought I'd just go through all of them and explain first who they are, and then a little bit about their role. The reason I wanted to do this is, one, just giving terminology to people who maybe aren't familiar with everything. And the second is, when you understand what they do, kind of their primary responsibility, you understand when to meet them in your sales activity. So that's tomorrow's training. Make sure you subscribe or sign up for that. Okay, I'm going to go really fast because I do want to make sure I show you as much as I can. This is a fun way to build your network out there. So let's first talk about speakers, right? So when you think about people up on stage, speakers, panelists, etc., sometimes you want to meet with them. And I'm going to talk about these 3 bullets really quick, and then I'll show you. And I'm going to try to go back and forth like that. But the first thing I do when I look at a conference is I review the entire agenda. I mean, literally everything in there. I'm looking for good topics that relate to what my company does, or what I want to learn about, or the people I want to meet, what they'd be talking about, et cetera, right? So I'm looking at the agenda, trying to pick the topics. Then as I'm going through and I'm finding the topics, I'm looking at the speakers and panelists and trying to choose the ones that I would want to meet. And I'm also weeding out the ones I want to meet, but I don't think would ever meet me. For example, at AUSA, there's a ton of senior leaders. And when I say senior leaders, I'm talking about lieutenant generals, general, like 4 stars are in there, command sergeant majors. These people would be cool and all, but leave them to the Booz Allens and the Lockheeds or something to go talk to. What we want to do is to find people who are, let's say, and I'm using this loosely, like colonel and below. They're doing the work. No offense to the generals, right? But they're doing the work. And generally, that's what we're looking to do, is to get to the people who are doing the managing the opportunities and contracts we're trying to go after. So I build a target list around that, and then I reach out to them. And I don't have time to give you like my templates for how I reach out, but basically I say, hey, sorry I missed you at the panel. For whatever reason, I would love to get a quick intro call if that's all right. And so I have a really basic template that I use, and you just tweak it depending on the success of it. But basically I say, sorry I missed you. You'll find that that's kind of the pattern out there. Okay, so let's take a look quickly at how I scan the program for the agenda and the speakers that are in there. So this is AUSA's site. Bam, October. That was timely. So I'm not going to dwell on this too long. Programs, if I come down here, I can look at interactive agenda. Like, okay, that's what I'm looking for, somewhere where I can find the agenda. Inside of the agenda, you'll find generally it's organized like this. Good events generally organized like this. You can search the tracks or speakers, and I've already done it. It's not really helpful, so I'm not going to do it. And then you come across, you see they've started early for their own internal reasons for the organization. But if you come across, you start looking at the main days. So Monday, October 13th, if I just click on that, well, okay, let's look at Tuesday, since apparently I clicked on that. But if I start scrolling down, right, many of these events are tied into being internal, et cetera. And so I start looking through and I'm finding stuff. This is an unfortunate thing, by the way. A lot of events got canceled because of the government shutdown. Today was the day I think military did not get paid. And I think the military is getting paid, but the civilian military is not. So it's unfortunate. That means, a lot of people won't be showing up. And these things happen. I remember when the Ukraine war kicked off, the Russians invaded Ukraine, and I was at an Air Force contract the day that happened, and they all bailed. It's like, but they had a job to do, and we respect that. So anyways, I go through here and I just scrub. I'm just looking for a bunch of events that I'd be interested in. I'm like, here's an X-Tech, Disrupt, et cetera. And so I'm moving down and I'm creating that list. And I would do this first. I wouldn't even look at the people yet. I would do it for all 3 days, right? That's the first thing I want to do. And when I find ones I like, I would click on them and do what I did here, which is open it in a different tab. So you can right click on it and say, open in a different tab. And this is a great way to quickly go through an agenda. So I've got them all open, and then I'll come in and start looking at, the speakers. So in here, I'm looking at this one. It's continuous transformation impacts the continuous transformation impacts on organic industrial base optimization. Well, that's a really interesting thing because I spend my time in the industrial base. We are the industrial base. If you don't know this, small and large businesses that sell to the federal government, that's the industrial base that supports the military or the federal government, frankly. And so I'm looking in here, and I don't overly care about the meat of the event at the moment. I'm looking at these two people, and I'm like, okay. And remember, I said colonels do the work. Colonels and below do the work. And that's a kind of a loose term again, or a loose association. But anyways, I'm looking in here, Supply Chain Management Directorate in Army Material Command. So that's a good one, right? Here's a logistics officer. These two people I'm going to go try to find. And so I'm putting them on my list, and I'm going to go try to find their contact information. I don't have time to show you all of it today, so I'll show you some as we go forward. But that was a quick way for me to just find speakers. And let me remind you, right? I review the agenda for topics I like. I look for speakers and panelists in there that actually might take my call and that their job titles seem related to what I'd like to learn more about or who I'd like to build a relationship with within the buyer. And then the last thing is I create that list and do outreach for them. Okay, so that's the federal buyers and the speakers that are in there. But the next group of people are so much larger. And to me, this is a group that I think a lot of us should like. Too often, we small businesses in particular will go to the event and we'll all try to latch around some colonel or general or something. We're like it matters if we take a picture with the Secretary of the Army. It does not. First off, they change all the time. Second, they're not going to buy from you ever. And so you want to move yourself as small businesses closer to the people who really influence your success, you know, whether you can win contracts. And so exhibitors are another great one. Sometimes there's federal agencies in there, but often they're your teaming partners or other vendors who somehow can influence it. And so I want to review the exhibitor list, and I'll go in there in a minute and show you. But I want to review those 750 exhibitors, and I want to start building a list of people I'd like to connect with. The next thing is, so I talked about the second bullet there. And then the third one is I reach out to the exhibitors. Generally, I don't have to work too hard with exhibitors to get an intro meeting. So you want to be careful of your time. But if I've got 750 exhibitors, I think I probably want to build a list of 100 exhibitors that I would love to reach out and talk to. You know, 15-minute call or something to see if there's a match. Now, you need to make sure that they align with what you do. So sometimes if you don't know who the exhibitors are, do a quick little bit of research on it. Maybe you give the exhibitor list to ChatGPT and have it give you a summary of what each company does. But one way or another, you want to build your target list out there. So let's go check out exhibitors. So same thing, right? I was on the AUSA site. I could come over here to exhibitors, and down at the bottom is exhibitors list. And so in here, I can begin to scroll through all these exhibitors. So let me zoom this out. I like how this says print result. Like, are they going to print all 750? That's a bit much. And by the way, if you paid to attend, you have a lot more functionality and apps that you can do that. But for me, this is sufficient, right? I'm going to start scrolling down, and I'm not doing anything overly complicated. An example is, look, if I come into Accenture, this is a large consulting type company that for many of us, if we're doing 2 to 5 million, we might want to team up with Accenture. So I'll click on it and see if there's a person in there that's relevant. All of the pages come up like this. They've got keywords basically that you can understand, and then you come down. So you could search on these kind of things later. But if I come down, I'm looking at people like this. So if I look at Casey Wolf, I don't know who it is. And I'm just going to take one quick stab. Let me just, hold on, bear with me. Let me come over here. Come on, Casey, show up for me and make it quick and easy for me to search. Casey Wolf, Accenture. Did I do that correctly? Manager at Accenture Federal Services. If I go in and look, though, what I'm looking is she a manager of events or is she a manager of something else? So lead client command property officer, segment delivery and manage multi management assets, financial reporting. So she's got a ton of experience in there. And the reason I'm saying this, and I don't need to dwell there, I want to come back. The reason I'm saying that is sometimes when you click on Accenture or a business like this, and I'll try to show a couple more, you'll see the person who works for that company who does exhibits. And so they're like an exhibitor manager, if you will. And Casey at Accenture, she looks like she's more related to the actual client delivery type thing, right? And so I would put her on my list. Hey, Casey, I'm sorry I didn't get by Accenture. You mind if I do a quick intro call and ask you a couple of quick questions, right? And then I would know where I'm trying to go in Accenture. By the way, if you're doing like $1 million or less, don't call Accenture. They're so big, they're not really wanting to work with you unless you're like, created something that no one else has. Otherwise, just work with small businesses. And there's a ton of them. So anyways, I'm going to keep coming down. Here's advanced cooling technologies. I'm assuming if I'm in construction, something like that, HVACs. Let me see right there, HVACs. So here's an HVAC company, and there is, Megan is a marketing specialist, which is totally fine. You just understand when you're reaching Megan, she's more like what I call a focus or receptivity. She's nice, but she probably doesn't deal with the HVAC side of the business or the federal sales side. She's the marketing side and the event side. And so you want to work with Megan to get an introduction to somebody else. We've got somebody who's in the training today, I think, Annette, who does filtering, et cetera, basically HVAC related stuff. This would be a good contact. This would be an example of putting somebody on the list. So again, I'm coming down, and let me just keep coming down here. So Airbus is too big. I'm trying to find something that looks like a casual thing. I mean, you can always go after Amazon Web Services. Amenum, I got a lot of friends over there. They're multi-billion, but I'm curious on whether they're marketing or sales. So Corinne, without a title like marketing, I would assume they're closer to business development. So I'll write their name down and try to figure it out. And so I can keep doing things like this. Like if I clicked on this, let me see if it lets me do this really quick. No. Oh, I was looking for something that that would let me open this in a different tab. Can I go here? Oh, I can. Good. So then I can start coming. Oh, no. See how bad that thing is? So sorry, what that's telling me, and it's just we're doing this live, right? But what that's telling me is I have to write everybody's name down and company down to come back. Now, if I happen to be with if I happen to pay for this, then I could get it for free. All right, so you see the point, right? I'm coming down, and there's so much down in here. As you're going down and you're trying to find companies, I was finding one. I can't remember if these guys are in here, like GDIT. Hey, come down. So GDIT, for example, is if I click on them, come on. This is live training. I need you to move faster there. So senior events manager is at GDIT. So this is somebody I might reach out to if I do events, et cetera, and say, hey, can I support you? Or maybe like Graham, who is in here, I'm sure does ASL. This would be a bunch of people that they could reach out to. So anyway, so you just build your list. And coming down, when you talk about having 750, there's no real excuse for us not to be able to find companies that we can kind of team up with that perhaps has a place for us to fit, right? Whether you're large or small, you can still do this exact same process. I'm going to try one more just to see if they pop up with federal sales titles. So not marketing specialist. The problem is I'm clicking on some large companies and I don't see an easy way for me to choose just the smalls, but you get my point. So in here, this second slide we were just covering, this is about finding exhibitors. And so make sure you go in and review the exhibitor list, create a target list. By the way, this is something you absolutely should do ahead of the event even, because you'll see the exhibitors in there long before. AUSA has been sold out for a while. But I could see these people and I could take the time, 3-4 days to just make sure I know every one of those companies. Is it worth me meeting? Does it align to what I'm trying to achieve? Okay, and so let's head into the last one. Oh, before I do, I just want to thank Voltron for sponsoring our training. Voltron is exclusive sponsor of my training, which I really appreciate. And I'm actually trying to go over to the site because I actually opened them up. They talk about purpose-built AI for winning federal proposals. But for me, they just help you win more contracts by going from hearing about an opportunity, the solicitation or even earlier, and writing a draft-ready proposal in minutes, not weeks. And so I'm really excited to be teaming up with them because this aligns, you know, compared to me getting a sponsor like a bank or something, this aligns directly what I constantly am trying to help you do. Federal sales that leads to contracts that you can win. So thank you very much to Voltron. Do me a favor in the chat, just throw a thank you in there. Okay, good. I'm saving a good amount of time here. So how to engage with those 44,000, right? First off, you don't know who the 44,000 is. So we'll probably cut that list way, way, way down. But you can engage with so many people who are out there. And there's this idea of cold calling, right? And sometimes we're afraid to do cold calling. But if you have a common reason to connect, now that cold calling is more like, you know, lukewarm or definitely not cold, right? But it's kind of introduction to warm calling. And what I mean by this is if I call Scott, who's at AUSA or might be going there and he's got a post, which I'll show you in a minute, right? I can reach out and say, hey, Scott, I saw you were at AUSA. I'd love to connect, see if maybe there's a chance for us to work together. So that's the power of LinkedIn, is because all of us are out there talking about where we're going, what conferences. Anybody who's going to conferences these days tend to say so on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm going to the conference. Who else is going? And so you want to check who's going to AUSA 2025, and I'll show you how to do that and how to find them. One other thing you want to do that I'm not going to show you, I don't have the time to, is you could do a post. Like right now, I could do a post. Shoot, I might even do it just for the fun of it. I could do a post out there that says, you know, AUSA rocks. Who went? You know, what was your experience? And if you follow me on LinkedIn, if you watch, I'm going to do a post like that. I'll do it a little later today. I'll do a post like that and watch how many people who went to AUSA engage, right? And I might put something in there like, are you open to an intro call? Are you open to connection? And people will just say yes, because half of the people you engage with are open to connecting and half aren't. And that's totally cool. But if you call 100 people, right, you're going to get a lot of folks. All right, let's go find those posts. Okay. So AUSA. So I didn't do anything special. I came in here. This is cool. This is my live while we're talking. It's kind of an interesting thing. But if I just put AUSA up here, I've got stuff coming in, right? And so now I can say, show me posts. And all I want to see is people talking about AUSA. So I'm bypassing the first one because I've been there. And so right here, it's that time of year, AUSA. So Jeff Carlson's going to be walking the floor and meeting with our partners and customers. Reach out to Jeff to learn more about the terminals, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, and let me move Voltron over there for a second. First thing I'll do is click on Jeff Carlson, right? And then look, this guy's only got 4 people who have engaged with him. He did this an hour ago, and this is the CEO of the company. I can put a thing, you know, sorry, I'm not there. Love to have met you and the team. Something like this, right? And keep in mind, you don't need to do this for the fluff. I'm doing training, so I'm doing a little bit for the fluff, but you need to strategically do it. If it made sense for you to meet with Chase here, then you would do that. Otherwise, I come over here to Jeff. He's the key account manager. If I'm trying to team up with these guys for any reason, now I know Chase or Jeff, literally, and I could reach out and just connect with him and say, hey, I saw Chase was saying you're at the event. I'd love to connect with you. Let's keep scrolling down here. So here, you know, en route to AUSA, see you there. I don't know what Maven International is, right? Let's take a quick look as an example. You could just start giving thumbs up. In fact, I will for a second. But if I come over here, Maven International, unfortunately, I don't see his website. So I can't really connect with him at the moment, but I can come down and learn a little bit more if I wanted to figure it out. So they've been around a while, came out of the Army, and they're doing something. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't have the time right now to go figure it out, but I could begin to engage. They're probably doing something related to security. Coming down here, hey, look at that, Voltron. They're headed to AUSA. I already engaged with that. Looking forward to seeing out-of-town visitors at ASUA. Who's in town, right? And coming back, I don't know who Paul McQuaid is. Anytime I don't see a picture and it's a 3rd degree, and I know a ton of people, right? So that kind of makes me pause. Okay, Paul is Paul's a fake profile. So keep that in mind when you're engaging with people. Who's going to be at AUSA? This person's opening up the door for a conversation. There's a Special Operation Force veteran. Oh, let me click and see who that is. And you see my point, though. I'm just scrolling down. Association of the Army. This person's art looks like they're already there and they got all their stuff lined up. But anybody who's posting on here is open to connection. At AUSA, day one, overwhelming. You could, so it's a U.S. diplomat or former maybe. But look at that. No one engaged. Right? No one engaged in there. That was 16 minutes. If you engage, then they're going to sit there and appreciate you. Here's Sean. Is he, GovDash is going to be there? Looks like Sean will be there too. And this is cool, right? So if you don't know GovDash, Sean's a good guy. But these guys are all out there. We can engage with them. And I'm only doing a few seconds. But if I was in your position, and let me go back to Lauren really quick. Executive Office of what? I was trying to see that. So union. And I would go figure out leadership, safeguarding momentum, ensuring internal clarity. So it looks like organizational maturity type company. But if I was you and I'm doing sales, right, I would go and engage with these people. If I was a boss and I had somebody working for me, I would say, go engage with these people. The way you build your company is to make sure more and more people know about you. If you can make some simple connection through my training or AUSA, for example, then you're going to sit there and build your network and more people will be aware of what your company does. More people will be open to meeting with you. Here's what I want you to remember from today's training. It's a really straightforward process when you're thinking about a contract. And by the way, I have a ton of training on how to do pre, during, and post activities related to a conference so you can have the most success. At least 25 different trainings. You can find it here on LinkedIn or on YouTube. But anyways, when you do it, you're looking at the speakers. Who's going to be the showcase in the event, right? Find the speakers you wish you would meet. Don't even bother catching them at the bottom of the stage with everybody else. Just follow back up. More importantly, shoot them an email beforehand and say, hey, I'm excited to hear you. Looking forward to it. If they engage back with you, even with something like, oh, great, it's like you've started building the relationship. Second thing to remember is the exhibitors are your friends. They're your competitor mates. That means they're a competitor one day and teammate another day. Reach out to those. Begin to build relationships. And again, follow up with them. And the last one is the attendees. Use the LinkedIn post the way I did it. Just go to the homepage, type the name of your event or look for a hashtag or something that people are using. And then begin to engage. This is a way for you to maximize success at an event if you go to it, or whether you go to it or don't even pay, right? You can have success. And so take a look at those, figure it out. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about all the different stakeholders, so make sure you join me in tomorrow's training for that. Right now, I am building Call Plan AI. This is my new company, and it's around federal sales. In particular, it's around the whole idea of building strong relationships lead to the opportunities and the sales that you want. So go check it out. I'd love to have you over there. One thing is I'm building it. It's still new. It's live and I've got good stuff in there, but I'm building it together with the subscribers who are in there. And because they're in there early, giving me feedback, I'm giving 90% off for life. And I'll probably do that through the rest of October and then bump the price up from there. But no pressure. If you're ready to come in and have some fun doing that. By the way, if you're already a subscriber, make sure you remember I go live in there on Zoom 3 o'clock with any subscribers. I talk about a little bit on what we're building, and then I also answer any questions you have. And so basically you're getting me consulting you for free daily. So as long as that lasts in there, come join me. And just one more thanks to Voltron. I appreciate them sponsoring the event. Just remember, for all of us, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. Part of the process is ending on time. I'm a minute early. I'm excited. I will see you in the next training.